Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to the AIMS knowledge sharing session on national education policy. Dr. Rajshekaran Pillai has kindly consented to be the guest speaker on this topic. Hearty welcome to Professor Pillai on behalf of AIMS Executive Board and members of the AIMS. Before we commence the session, let me take the opportunity to give a brief about the AIMS. The Association of Indian Management Schools, a network of management institutions offering postgraduate courses, is an independent networking body for the professional development of the management education in India. AIMS takes pride in having nearly 500 premier institutions like IIMs, ISB, Xavier institutions, Wellington Institute of Management, NMAMS, Jamnalal Bajaj, IBS, MDI, IMI, SP Jain, and many management departments of universities as its members. It is one of the largest networking bodies of B schools in the world. Moreover, it is the official representative of Indian management schools in India and international forums. Some of the key aims and objectives are to provide a dynamic network of institutions engaged in management education, training, and research in India. To help in the accreditation process of management education institutions by suggesting specific criteria and evaluation standards of institutions and their programs. To institute or cost to set up a local regional chapters at convenient locations in India to promote the association's objectives more effectively. To take steps for the development of management literature, case studies, teaching materials, journal, books, etc. relevant to the Indian context. To actively promote linkages between management education institutions and industry, business, and government. To strengthen institutional capabilities through faculty development and exchange and enable better use of infrastructural facilities. AIMS organizes seminars, conferences, management training, research, consultancy, and publication activities in furtherance of the objectives of the association. Some of the activities, policy advocacy role. One of the major activities of AIMS is its policy advocacy role to safeguard the interests of management institutions in all respects. The president of AIMS is an ex officio member of the Board of Management Studies of the All India Council for Technical Education. AIMS organizes various events and workshops for faculty, students, deans, and directors of multiple B schools. It also encourages various stakeholders to participate in the annual events and recognizes the merit. Another flagship event of the AIMS is AIMS Test for Management Admissions, ATMA, ATMA, is a national level exam conducted by the Association of Indian Management Schools for admission to MBA and PGDM courses. More than 750 management institutions across India accept ATMA scores for admission to their management programs. It is one of the recognized tests by AICTE. AIMS works in close collaboration with a large number of management schools network around the world, such as Accreditation Council for Business Schools and Programs, ACBSP, Association of Management Development Institutions in South Asia, AMDISA, European Foundation for Management Development, EFMD. Ever since the outbreak of COVID-19, mid-April 20, AIMS started conducting case writing workshops, FDPs, and webinars in almost all aspects impacting management education, industry, and society as a whole. This year, 2 more online lecture discussion series, that is knowledge sharing sessions for the faculty and inspiring young leaders for the students, are introduced from the current year by our current elected president of AIMS, Professor Nandagopal. So this is a brief about AIMS. Now, I deem it a privilege to introduce the eminent academician, Professor V.N. Rajshekaran Pillai. Professor Rajshekaran Pillai is currently the provost and professor of chemistry Somya Vidyavihar and Somya Ayur Vihar. He has been at the helm of affairs of many higher educational and scientific research establishments for the last 47 years as a teacher, researcher, professor, and executive head of education, science, and technology establishments in the country and abroad. An elected fellow of the Indian Academy of Sciences, Professor Rajshekaran Pillai is among the country's top cited chemistry researchers. He created an internationally renowned research group in polymer supported peptide synthesis, photo-removable protective groups, and conformational studies of peptides and proteins. Over 50 doctoral and postdoctoral researchers have been trained under his direct supervision at Calicut University, Mahatma Gandhi University, the University of Tübingen, and the University of Mainz, Germany. Many occupy professor, director, and senior level scientist positions in academia and industry worldwide. He has also worked as a visiting research professor at the University of Lausanne, Switzerland. Top executive positions which occupied include vice chairmanship and chairmanship of the University Grants Commission, executive director of the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, that is called NAC, vice chancellor of the Indira Gandhi National Open University, IGNOU, chairman of the Distance Education Council, Government of India, vice chancellor of Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, Kerala, vice chancellor of Cochin University of Science and Technology, executive vice president of the Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, ex officio principal secretary of the Department of the Science and Technology, Government of Kerala, chairman of the Kerala Coastal Zone Management Authority under the Ministry of Environment and Forests, Government of India, and chairman of the Kerala Biotechnology Commission. Professor Pillai, after superannuation from the Government of India and Government of Kerala, worked as president of Mewar University, Chittorgarh, Rajasthan. He has also been president of a New Delhi NCR-based civil society organization, Human Development Foundation, India, since 2015. He is on the director board of Apollo Group of Hospitals and the boards of several academic and research establishments in the country and abroad. Since January 2018, Professor Rajshekaran Pillai has been serving as the professor and provost of Somya Vidyavihar and Somya Ayur Vihar under the Somya Trust, Mumbai. Sir, we are really honored to have you here, sir. And the Minister of Education, Government of India has announced the NEP to improve the country's teaching and learning standards. In this context, may I request Professor Pillai to enlighten us on NEP and its implications on business schools. And sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Durga Prasad. I am extremely glad to accept the invitation of the Association of Indian Management Schools for giving my views on the National Education Policy 2020. I take this opportunity to congratulate the association and its member institutions for the excellent activities which they are doing in capacity building and training of the faculty in the various institutions which are parts of the aims. I am sure that this type of understanding, capacity building, and working together with management institutions and linking with other institutions as well is very necessary for enhancing the quality of education, and not only in the management education sector, but for the whole sector of education. When it comes to management education, the very purpose of education, if we think, is to enhance the quality of life and life management systems. That is the overall purpose of education itself. And managing education institutions, managing business, managing politics, managing the environment, managing sustainability. All these things are very important. We, of course, management experts talk about people, profit, and planet. So these are all very important things. Looking at people, looking at the quality of life of the people, and then quality of life of the planet, and then definitely creating profit for sustaining things. So if you just look at the Sustainable Development Goals 2000 set in by the UNESCO in 2015, and the fourth goal of the Sustainable Development Goal 2015 proposes to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. That is the SDG 2015 point number 4. And definitely, if you just look at the National Education Policy 2020, we will see that this is a further elaboration, looking at this particular aspect in a holistic perspective, understanding the Indian context of education and understanding the country's imperative. The National Education Policy 2020 has been developed. Of course, we can say that this is the first education policy for the 21st century, and definitely it will be a game changer as and when it is successively implemented. There is no doubt about it. If you just look at the earlier policies, policy means, for example, 1986, we have the National Policy of Education, NPE. It was called NPE, 1986. It was called National Policy of Education. And there was some sort of an addition in 1992 when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. Program of Action, 1992. More program of action has been added to the National Education Policy. And I see that because we have read this National Education Policy several times, probably during the last 2 years, we have all been discussing this particular point across the country at different forums. So if you just look at the National Education Policy 2020, it also addresses the probably unfulfilled agenda, which was part of the 1986 policy. Where if you just look at 1986 policy, the keywords were equity and access. Of course, we add more to equity and access. Maybe equity, equal opportunity, quality is a really very important watchword in the new education policy, and several things are mentioned. So I don't want to. Nobody can make a comprehensive analysis of the national education policy 30-40 minutes, but nobody can. And it is not the purpose of this intervention also. It is just looking at the salient points, how the management education, how we can just look at the quality in all perspective. So management education is also undergoing a paradigm shift across in terms of structure of educational institutions, in terms of the programs, in terms of the areas of focus. It is not just finance, HR, and 2 or 3 areas. It is there are different areas of management education also coming in. For example, in healthcare, in sports, in environment, in policy, there are a lot of new verticals. According to the new verticals are coming in the management education also. So the national education policy, I remember it was announced by the Prime Minister on 20th August 2020. Maybe 20 or 21. I don't exactly remember. But there is a coincidence why I am saying that. On that day, we had an interaction. I hosted a meeting in Bombay, virtual meeting. It was COVID after 3-4 months after COVID. So the people were really suffering in the sense that I'm an experimental chemist. We were just looking at what will happen to experimental science, what will happen to science and technology, what will happen to education, what will happen to all these laboratories and sophisticated documents. We were really worried as working scientists, we were all worried. So it was by chance that we organized a meeting on that particular day, and it was under the chairpersonship of Dr. Kasturi Rangan, who is the architect, who is the chief architect of the national education policy as well. He chaired this session, and of course we had a good number of people from the science and technology institutions. All the presidents of the science academies were there, because we were worried. You know that experimental science, full-time research, students spend day and night in laboratories. Sophisticated equipments are there. If they are not maintained, they will go completely out of order. All these worries were there. So we were wondering what will happen. And around 3 o'clock on that day, when we were conducting the seminar, he got a call from the Prime Minister of India, and Dr. Kasturi Rangan got a call from the Prime Minister of India that we are implementing the national education policy. And of course, Kasturi Rangan announced during that seminar that this is implemented. Because I vividly remember why I mentioned this particular point is that we were worried about that particular point when it comes to science, technology, and experimental science and all that. But then it was August. So, after 6 months, every year, the Nature, Science, these the world-renowned magazines, world-renowned journals publishes a review of what has happened in science, technology, and all that during 1 year. In March, usually they publish. And it so happened that the COVID year was that particular year was the year of cooperation, year of unconventional collaboration and cooperation among scientists all over the world, and collaborations of unimaginable profiles happen. For example, people who are not scientists, who have not seen each other, institutions which are of very different levels, the highest level, and probably institutions which are not really known, they collaborated. Scientists, very junior scientists, including research students, collaborated with very eminent people all over the world through technology. And maximum number of collaboration occurred. And we also know that the invention of the vaccine, different types of vaccine, different types of technologies to deal with the pandemic, all these things were developed during that period. And it was recorded that in the history of scientific research, that was the most productive year in the history, and that changed the face, and it changed the face of working together in education. Probably that disruption is one which is definitely going to augment even the implementation of the national education policy. We have also seen that how technology has really helped us in reaching people, in conducting education, sustaining education, sustaining research, maybe going into the more areas of management and collaboration. All these things happened. So the role of technology and in management education, because I just mentioned I started saying about science experimental education. People think that in experiments and all that, you have to be directly in the laboratory and all that, but you have to be directly in the laboratory. But in addition to that, there are a lot of new things which can be developed. Similarly, a new branch of science has developed it is called e-science. For example, looking at the results all over the world, not just this year or last year or the last 10 years, from wherever recorded knowledge is available, looking at the recorded knowledge in all spheres of human activity, and the technology went into that, and then emerged a new science known as e-science, making use of artificial intelligence and data analysis, looking at data. And data analysis and artificial intelligence has also helped in strengthening our collaboration and all that. So when it comes to national education policy, the intervention of technology is mentioned. We are all using in management institutions, in science and technology institutions, not only well-endowed institutions, almost all institutions use of technology in a significant way now. But when I say that, I am quite aware of there are even now people deprived of technology to make use of in a much bigger way. But when it comes to the technological application for implementation of the national education policy, it is mentioned technology interventions in national education policy to achieve quality, achieve numbers and quality, and also maybe giving more transparency in our activities. All these things, the importance of technology is mentioned. And then when we say technology, we cannot just say that technology will replace teachers. As a teacher, I sincerely believe that technology cannot replace teachers. Only teachers can teach, but teachers have to be aware of the appropriate technologies. Teachers have to be equipped with appropriate technologies. They should be welcoming the technologies in whatever form it's coming, and then adopt the technology to teach the subject in the possible way. So when it comes to the first policy, because I started teaching in an education institution in 1971, in a university department in 1971, 51 years. But during those periods, we were all talking about Kothari Commission report. That was the report. First, Secretary of Education, Chairman of the University Grants Commission, Secretary, and in a Kothari Commission report. The Kothari Commission report was also a revolutionary report. We were talking about 1970s, 70s, and all that. The opening sentence of the Kothari Commission report is like this: "The destiny of India is shaped in her classrooms." That is the opening sentence of the Kothari Commission report. And even now, that statement holds. The profile of the classroom may be different. It may not be the four-walled classroom. Classroom, the teacher, the learner, the communication strategies between the teachers and learners, all these things may be changing. But the teacher is, even in the policy, in the current policy, it's mentioned that a teacher must be at the center of any fundamental reforms in the education system. And therefore, the first three chapters, you will see what are the possible things which we can do for enhancing the quality of teacher education. And even now, I sincerely believe that it is only by enhancing the capabilities of the teachers at all levels, whether it be humanities education, science education, management education, whatever it may be, or professional education, it is by enhancing the quality and capacity of teachers we can really achieve quality. And therefore, I categorically say that whatever technology we say, that we have to welcome those technologies. At the same time, we have to see that the basic pillar of education, the teacher, has to be the part of implementing everything. So the teacher cannot be replaced. This is teacher, and the classroom cannot be replaced. The teacher will have a new profile. The classroom will have a new dimension, new peripherals, new dimension. That is all what is happening. And then if you just look at the education policy, there are several. The school education is mentioned. When it universal primary education by 2030, that is the thing. And of course, school education, a lot of new things are happening. Now, technology has to come to our place. And as a country, we are extremely well progressing in technology accommodation or technology appropriation for education institutions. We have several things. So when it comes to technology interventions in the NEP, we have to ensure that it is discipline-based ICT pedagogy, discipline-based technology pedagogy that is going to be more important. There is nothing like technology, one technology for all. No, nothing like that. Doesn't fit. And there has to be discipline-based ICT pedagogy. For example, when it comes to management education, the type of teachers, the type of teaching, the type of course, you mentioned about the case studies, all these things. These are all very important, and technology, case studies, all these things are happening. Technology can do a great deal. Similarly, when it comes to classroom teaching in an experimental science, like chemistry, for example, or life sciences, we can see that the technology has to be conditioned in a very different way. Of course, we talk about virtual laboratories, then replacing all the conventional systems in an appropriate way with a combination of virtual and real systems. All these things are happening, but we are a little bit far away from, as a country, we are a little bit far away from all these things. For example, then let me come to the after school education. Let me come to the collegiate education. The one major thing which is suggested by the national education policy is conversion of all discontinuation of the affiliation system. That is the major thing. There will not be any affiliated colleges by 2030. That is the statement. And not even one affiliated college in the country by 2030. Every institution will be a degree granting institution, or they will be part of a cluster university, or they will be part of a unitary university. Several things are mentioned. And of course, we have several thousands of colleges in this country. So this is a target. And we have also started moving like that. For example, the unitary university started, autonomous colleges are coming in a big way. University Grants Commission is promoting almost every day. The chairman of the University Grants Commission is sending circulars of more facilitation of autonomous colleges. One accreditation agency and one ranking agency that is an act, and the NIR of the government promotes for probably setting standards or setting the minimum criteria for achieving autonomy and university status or higher levels of ranking. So online education is promoted in a big way. I was heading the Indira Gandhi National Open University for 5 years as its vice chancellor, and also I was the chairman of the Distance Education Council during the period 2006 to 2011. And even a university, with the millions of students like Indira Gandhi National Open University, the Central Open University, they could not even, even after several attempts, not even one online degree was in the country until the time of the pandemic. Now, I know universities where I am also part of universities, where I am also part of them. The University Grants Commission and the Distance Education Board has even suggested 10,000 online MBAs for universities. Permissions have been given 10,000 to many management institutions, 10,000 online MBA, and of course the other humanities, social science, languages are happening in a big way. So this is a paradigm shift. For example, where there was not even one online degree allowed in this country. Now the country allows lakhs and lakhs of online degrees in management disciplines and other disciplines. I'm not against it. It is very important. It is very important. And then even the restructuring of education is also happening. So when it comes to conversion of all the colleges into universities, even now, of course, I have headed the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, and also have headed the University Grants Commission, and the Indira Gandhi National Open University, which is also a national university with centers across the country and abroad. That was our mandate. So when it comes to our colleges, conversion of all these colleges into university, there are several management issues, how to manage them. For example, even 20% of the colleges in this country, even now, 20% of the college, that's a big number, have less than 100 students and several colleges with one teacher. Several, 20. So how it may be under different managements, it may be under government, maybe a trust, it may be a fractional trust of several organizations, how to put together all these things, how to bring all these things. So probably the way out has been suggested by the government. They can collaborate with some other institution. And then there are challenges. For example, when it comes to universities, a lot of freedom in the national education policies given. They are saying that we are liberating all universities from the practice of the governance and regulation is going to be, what is that? There will not be any governance from the state or central government of universities. There will not be any regulatory body, for example, in the university, in the country. There will be only quality ensuring bodies in the country. It's a very good thing. So internal quality assurance has to be maintained by institution. And then national accreditations are there. For management institutions, you have the AMBA accreditation, AACSB accreditation, several global accreditations are also there. So a level playing ground is definitely required for these 20%. 20% I mentioned just that number, but even maybe 60%, maybe they may need handholding. So how to manage these institutions with one teacher, just as in the school education at time, even now, single teacher schools are there. Similarly, we have single teacher colleges also. And then many of the colleges, most of the colleges during the last 10, 15 years are self-financing colleges. That means no new post is supported by the government. The payment has to be paid by the management. There are different levels of payment, different categories of payment, all these things. Maybe the idea of the survival of the fittest cannot be just applied to a nation like India as of now. That's my experience. From my long-term experience, we cannot just say that. There has to be hand-holding necessary. And then the national education policy also mentions about, implements multiple exit and multiple entry for giving maximum opportunities for students. This has been a system in the European and the other countries, foreign countries, at different levels, starting from +2 onwards, different levels. Vertical and horizontal mobility. That is the purpose. Vertical and horizontal mobility. For example, in one area of management, they can go vertical. In one area of education, they can go horizontal, studying different subjects, embracing different subjects. And this is one thing. And then the 4-year degree program, which emphasizes after first year, after certificate, first year you get a certificate. Second year, you get a diploma. Third year, you get an advanced diploma. And fourth year, you get a degree. This has also been in practice in the community college system in the US for several years. Even in the community college started by Indira Gandhi National Open University in 2000, the certificate, diploma, advanced diploma, degree programs were there. But that was an open university system. Now, in the conventional collegiate and university education system, one can go from after 1 year, they can earn a certificate and then they can go out and work in the society, industry, or social sector. They can work, but acceptability, it has to be promoted. For example, we have to just look at the people who are going to take these students after 1 year. We have to tell them clearly what is it that they should do further. They should definitely work whatever in the field, but at the same time, if they want to come back, because if they want to come back to the university, what should be the components of education and pedagogy which is necessary to be achieved by them. And there has to be a continuous give and take understanding policy between the education institutions and the social sector and industrial sector in a very significant way. This has to happen. And this, again, at the higher levels of knowledge, at the postgraduate level, the management level, management education level, engineering education level. This collaboration has been happening in premier institutions. It has been happening successfully. And for that also, government has come out with procedures. For example, now it's not really a must that a professor in a university or an assistant professor in a university or a management institute should have a PhD. That has been taken away for the time being. And then it is also mentioned, in order to become a professor in a university, it is not necessary that they should have a PhD or 10 years of teaching experience as associate professor. Somebody can take as professor of praxis. We have several management institutes independently they were doing earlier, but now there is a possibility of professor of praxis. They will be treated as professor. So, and this is also very important. And it is therefore our management institutions, our other higher education institutions, we should try to collaborate with these industries and the social sector, even the public policy people from the government, retired service people can be taken into education. Similarly, another possibility of implementing this national education policy in a broader perspective, if you just look at the Indian Defense Service, for example, we have the military, navy, and the Air Force. They all get very proper education in their professional education, and that, of course, you know that they have a lot of free time. There is no war always, so luckily, and so they have a lot of free time, and they are getting a lot of professional training, even in very specific areas like engineering, management, even medicine. There are teachers. Large number of people are there, and they retire at the age of 40, 45. They can get pension, and then they are coming back to the village. They are coming back to the village. How they can be just, how their capabilities in education, capacity building, and training can be made available to education institutions, schools, polytechnics, colleges, and at the higher level management institutes. These things have to be considered. And such program, of course, the Defense has a university of its own. Earlier, they were collaborating with certain universities like Jawaharlal Nehru University, Yadavpur University, some public universities. But now there is a lot of opportunity for just looking at this large capital of knowledge and skills which is available outside the formal education system, the college, university, and then attracting them as visiting professors, adjunct professors, and of course, highly qualified and fully available people as professor of praxis. This is also one thing. And therefore, that collaboration has to happen. And then industry joint academic research programs. I will stop with one more point. Another point is about research. A lot of things have been suggested about research, and they make it compulsory. For example, when it comes to ranking, 40% of the weightage is given for research and research accomplishments. But when it comes to research, publications and all that, a lot of untoward things are also happening. That is why even the University Grants Commission took note of the situation. Recently, they mentioned making 1 or 2 paper or 3 paper, 4 paper compulsory for anything. Compulsory for anything is not there. Definitely, the institution, the committee can look into the quality of the paper and if the quality of the research what the person is doing, and they can assess. And by the compulsion of this number, for example, in olden days, even now, there was a saying that publish or perish. Now, what is happening is that large number of teachers, large number of researchers, they publish papers like anything, in fake journals, predatory conferences, but fly-by-night operators, conference operators. All these things are happening in the country like anything. And as a result, what is happening is that the very saying I used to say, I'm a researcher basically. The very saying that publish or perish is getting replaced by publish and perish. People publish in fake journals for some immediate gain, and they do not know the outcome. In future, they are going to perish themselves because a publication in a fake journal we can really damage the future of such institution. This is also, so quality of research is very important. And then collaboration between different education and research establishments under the ministry, under the various ministries is very important. Every ministry in this country, even the state government ministries and particularly central government ministries have an education, technology and training wing, every department. How they are, they have excellent facilities, they have excellent institutes also. How to collaborate with these institutes by the teacher, that is also very, very, very important. And then for the implementation of the national education policy, being a teacher and administrator in the last 50 years, one hurdle even now I see is that this education policy is the product of the Department of Education of the Government of India. The Department of the Health Ministry is not involved. The Agriculture Ministry is not involved. Even Science and Technology Ministry is not involved in the department. The original MHRD is looking after education, school education, college education, university education, and all that. Unless and until, if we want holistic improvement and transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary education and multi-education research universities to come up, these departments, these ministries should collaborate. Now, the National Education Policy is an instrument only of the Department of Education of the Government of India. They are for the medical count, for example, for the medical education, you have to go to the Health Ministry. For agriculture education, you have to go to the Agriculture Ministry. For science and technology research, you have to go to the Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology. And at least for the education part of it, they should join together and then work for this national education policy. I'm an incorrigible optimist. I'm sure that deliberations of this kind, understanding the nuances of the national education policy, looking at the ground realities of education in this country, and a concern of it can really improve. And in this context, interventions of institutions like the Association of Indian Management Schools is a very desirable thing. I compliment the organization for arranging this knowledge lecture series. This is, you said it is 8 or some number you mentioned, and I'm sure that this continuous dialogue will help to improve the quality of education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, some takeaways for me personally. See, technology cannot replace the teachers. Teacher is the key, even now also. But at the same time, adoption of the technology is very important. And definitely, we agree that capacity enhancement of the teachers is important. Rightly said, you also rightly said, publish and perish is the right word. We are seeing a mushrooming and a lot of rush to, in publication is happening. And we are also seeing, whenever we see a resume for a position, 20 papers, 30 papers, and in a span of 1 year is impossible. It's impossible.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Sir, we have a few questions.
Oh, sure.
That box, I'll just read it out. Yeah. Professor Narayan Reddy, he said, what are the challenges while implementing the NEP, particularly for affiliated institutions? What are the challenges?
Questions to me.
Questions to you, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is the challenge for affiliating institutions?
What are the challenges while implementing?
Yeah, that is. I just hinted that particular point.
Yeah.
For example, even of course, you know that India is the only country where the affiliating system exists now. It's the only country. Nowhere in the world, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all stop. We are the only country, and therefore, it has to be stopped.
Yeah.
The teacher who teaches in the classroom, he or she is the best person to examine, assess, and also certify the candidate. For example, in the affiliating system, what is happening is it is an examination. It is only an examination-centered government, examination-centered, and therefore affiliation system has to go. The teacher or the teachers, the community of the teachers who teaches, they should teach, they should evaluate, they should certify, they should be answerable at every point for the quality and excellence of the education he or she is offering, individually and collectively. And that will happen only when the affiliation system is removed. Otherwise, I will teach, I am not answerable for the product. I'm not answerable for the product. I will shift the responsibility. It's not mine. And then, in the affiliation system, what is happening in the examination system? We teach for providing knowledge and skills to the people, students. And these knowledge and skills are for enhancing the quality of life and life management systems. And this knowledge and skills is only the text of education. The context of only when the student understands the context of the knowledge and skills, the real knowledge and skills can be applied for enhancing the quality of life. Here, as of now, there is no possibility of understanding the context of the knowledge and skills. Yes. For your subjects, there may be an industrial context, there may be political context, there may be an environmental context, there may be a monetary, financial context. All these things, there is a cultural context. All these things. So this context varies from time to time. It changes from place to place. It's very dynamic in nature. I'm sitting in Kerala today. So the context of the knowledge and skills in the city or village I'm sitting now is totally different from the context of knowledge in a place in Bihar. So it is only when the students understand the context of the knowledge and skills, the real application of the knowledge will happen. And this will happen only when the disaffiliation happens. The college is college and the classroom, the community of teachers in an institution is autonomous and they can decide the future. Yeah. And there is a misbelief that, so if I am examining or if we are examining, probably we will do some mischief. That's a mistrust on me. That's a mistrust on me. I am not confident. That should go. That is how all over so the challenge is where are the teachers? Where are the teachers? 20% of the colleges, they have only, and they do not have enough classrooms. They do not have enough teachers. So we need teachers. Number of teachers, even now in the country, the challenge of a simple one sentence answer to the question is provide quality teachers in large numbers to colleges and universities and education institutions in the country. That is the challenge. That is a big challenge also.
Thank you,
and
sir.
If you just look at the world over, Indian people, they are doing excellent work. The people who have got training from our institutions, they are going abroad and doing it. And if you just look at that pool and attract them to this country through technology and through these interventions, then only the real challenge. So the challenge is providing quality teachers in quantity to the colleges.
Thank you, sir. And another question, Dr. Nagaraju, whether online degrees validated equivalent to conventional degrees awarded by university, autonomous, or affiliated institutions?
Okay, Professor, please look at just 10 days ago, there was a circular from the University Grants Commission that yes, there is no difference between an online degree and a regular degree. This has come as a regulation. Please look at the UGC website. It has come.
Yes.
But at the same time, we should be very cautious. So what should be the online degree we are offering? You should ensure that through online, several things can be learned. But along with that online, the contextual understanding of the subject is also very important. We should be extremely careful. So I mentioned in management education, it is already, they have granted several 10,000. I know universities, 10,000 MBA online, in addition to 1,000 regular MBAs. A few institutions got. And now the circular has come. Online degrees are equivalent, no difference of any kind between an online degree and a regular degree. The only thing is that the degree name should be in the UGC list of degrees. That is the only thing. So, simple answer to your question is, by rule, it is the same as of now. But we have to ensure that these are exactly the same. It is for us to ensure that.
A question from Professor R.C. Bhattacharya from Globe Skin Business School, Calcutta. What are the challenges for standalone management institutions in the country for NEP implementation? Standalone management.
Yes, I understand standalone. Of course, I think we have a lot. The management institutes have lot of opportunities to work towards the national implementation of the national education policy. The standalone, of course, if you just look at management institutes, the standalone management institutes were the prominent ones. Probably, even, for example, I was in an affiliating university for several times, and then a standalone unitary university. But standalone management institutions were considered to be the cream institutions under the AICTE and all that. And then challenges are, for example, whether the specializations, what type of specialization, new specialization, whether it be, for example, the management institute in Bombay, which I am the vice chancellor of that university. It is called Kerala KJ Somaya Institute of Management. It's a premier management institute. Good, large number of students come. So earlier we had all different types of verticals and all that. Now we have come across just one. It is called just MBA, and then minors and majors and all that. And in the national education policy, there is, I think, management institutions can really, standalone management institutions can really come up by providing the multidisciplinarity and transdisciplinarity through not full-time courses in the management institute, but maybe add-on courses of different magnitudes and different profiles. For example, healthcare management is coming in a big way. Medical colleges, if the standalone management institutes management has a medical college, or if there is a possibility of having a collaboration with a medical college and a medical hospital, healthcare management, public health management. I'm not just mentioning about hospital management. I'm mentioning about the public health care management. These are all, if you just look at institutions, these are all the things which can be added to the standalone institutions, which are looking at finance, HR, major management, and other areas. These are the things. And in the national education policy provides a lot of avenues for integrating such things and then making the institution focusedly multidisciplinary. That I emphasize, not for multidisciplinary sake, but for understanding the context of management education and then adding that additional context into that profile of management. For example, a finance person, what is it that they have to additionally see? What is, for example, sustainability without energy policy, sustainability, energy policy. All these things are new things which are going to happen. Energy management is going to happen. Agricultural management. All these things are new things. And this is definitely an opportunity for the standalone management institutions.
Again, Professor Narayan Reddy, when the quality of education is different among the institutions, how transfer of credits will be acceptable in reality or ground level?
Of course, again, you know that the Academic Bank of Credits has come. Our institution, we are one among the first in the Academic Bank of Credits. I went to the students and advocated them to register in the Academic Bank of Credits. Credit transfer, of course, we have been telling about the credit transfer in our institution. Now, the institutions have freedom for credit transfer. But it's very important. For example, one-to-one articulations are necessary. I am in institution A, Professor Reddy is in another institution B, what are the things transferable and exchangeable between you and me? It is to be, you have to understand my institution, me, and I have to understand your institution, you, and then work out an appropriate articulation. And there is nothing again which prevents by rule for doing that thing in the country now. In the academic bank of credits, the entire examination courses, their credits of all the students can be given, and it should be uploaded before they acquire the results, before they acquire the final degree. For example, if after 3 semesters, if somebody wants to go to some other institution, they can just go by this credit, and there has to be a continuous and continual effort jointly with students, dean of faculties, heads of departments of maybe participating institutions. Let us start with 1-to-1, then 1-to-many, 1-to-more, and 1-to-many. This is the way you have to think of. 1-to-1 you have to think of as on certain areas. Then looking at the success and operability of that thing, 1-to-1, 1-to-2, 1-to-3, 1-to-many. That is the way you have to do it. And now again, the rules are in place.
Thank you, sir. One more last question, last one from Anushree Saxena. How can the management field foray into other areas of development like science and technology, engineering, humanities of the country, and collaborate for research?
Can I get the question once, please?
Yeah. How can the management field foray into other areas of development like science and technology, engineering, humanities, and of the country, and collaborate for research?
Okay. For example, if you just look at HR, management institutions HR, you will see a lot of behavioral science and psychology people in HR, management HR. I have seen very eminent people in management HR. Then if you just look at finance, your economics, with economics is a major discipline. It's a major discipline, international renowned discipline. Public policy, for example, public policy. This can be related. Science and technology. Even now, the institutions, a few universities have started integrated BTech MBA. Integrated BTech MBA. For example, if there is a premier engineering college under the ambit of that university, if there is a possibility of course, you are heads of many of your professors and heads of management institutions. You will see, according to statistics, 30, maybe approximately 50% of the students in MBA institutions are from the engineering colleges. That's my understanding. Anyway, large number of students are there. Now, if these integrated programs are coming, standard MBA standalone degrees, all this should be there, no doubt. There cannot be any dilution on that focus. But in addition to that, if a technology student, if a science student, if a life science student wants to get knowledge in a module of management in any management discipline, we should be able to provide that schedule, that module in the institution. And now, several institutions, they started, for example, BITS Pilani or several institutions, they started BTech, and then maybe fourth year or so, if some of them want to go for MBA, they can start MBA at that level and get a BTech MBA. And they have also started, some institutions have also started MTech and MBA. The dual degrees, the joint degrees, and the additional certifications are there. And in management, there are also other areas. For example, economics, there are now some institutions, the premier institutions started BTech in economics and management. BTech, please understand, BTech in economics and management. This is the type of thing. So collaborate, and this is the National Education Policy saying. That is, what is that? All educational institutions should become multi-educational research universities. That is Meru. Meru means Parvat, no? Peak or something. Meru, Mahameru. So multi-educational research institution. So management institutions should just look at other disciplines where the management students are going after completion of management, and then integrate such areas. For example, sustainable development, economics, energy policy, industrial policy, some of these things. So of course, we have premier institutions like NITs, originally intended for such thing, but nowadays everything people are integrating. IITs are asked to do humanities and social sciences. IITs are conducting medical colleges, started conducting medical colleges now. Life sciences integration in all these things. So there is collaboration, and it is nothing which prevents. As a management institution, you can even think of majors and minors. Probably in the way by way of minors, you can just integrate these disciplines, and that autonomy is within ourselves.
Sir, thank you very much, sir, for your talk, and you gave us an excellent inputs on NEP and the education trends, current trends, and how we can integrate the management into other fields also. On behalf of the AIMS Executive Board, members of the AIMS, and on my personal behalf, we thank you for accepting our invitation and for your session. Thank you very much, sir. I also take the opportunity to thank the participants for their participation. Sincere thanks to AIMS Secretariat and Dr. Sunil Joshi for the background technical support. Finally, I thank Professor Nandagopal for giving me this opportunity to moderate this session. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Nandagopal and Professor Dukha Prasad and all the members of the Executive Committee and all delegates.